Hey guys, Trey here. Just wanted to give a spoiler warning at the beginning of this video because once again we forgot to. Swear one day we'll get it down, but till then that's all I got for you. So, everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of TreyFlix. I am your host Trey, and I am joined once again by my co-host Skyler. Say hello, Skyler.
Hello, everyone.
Today we will be talking about Thor: Love and Thunder. This is God. What is this? Like the fourth or fifth
I think it's the
installment in the
third
series?
Thor, yeah, like standalone Thor movie.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So let's go into a very brief synopsis of this, and then we will go from there. So in this latest installment, Thor goes on a journey to find himself. But after New Asgard gets attacked by shadow creatures and the children get kidnapped by the God Butcher, he sets off with Korg, King Valkyrie, and Old Flame Jane to rescue the children. Basically, is the synopsis of the whole fucking film. So
Save the kids.
yeah, super crazy. So let's talk about our before viewing thoughts. So like basically like when you saw the trailer, like your reaction and like what you thought was going to happen based on that. I know for me, when I saw it, I was like, okay, like the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be in this film, you know, for like a little bit, like that's going to be cool. You get to see Jane as Mighty Thor, and you're like, that's badass as fuck. Christian Bale's playing Gore the God Butcher, and you're like, well, I haven't heard of him before. Like, oh, like there wasn't any setup for this. Like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then you get to see Russell Crowe as Zeus, and you know
Oh,
that.
that's right, I forgot.
Yeah, like when I saw that, I was like, all right, like we'll see how this goes, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But you know, what were your thoughts when you saw the trailer?
Kind of just a lot of what you just said. Like, I thought the Guardians were gonna be in there a bit more than they were, but because I know they've been like traveling together since the last couple movies or whatever. So, yeah, I thought we would get more Guardians. It was more Thor focused, which I guess is just it's a Thor movie. That's what it was supposed to be. Um, Yeah, Christian Bale. Like I saw he was the bad guy, and I got real hyped because like fucking Batman is the bad guy. Okay,
Right.
let's go. Um, but yeah, like I didn't really know what to expect going into it because I don't know anything about like Gore the Butcher and all that, and I was kind of just along for the ride with it. Just another Thor movie. I was like, all right, we'll see where this ends up.
Right, right. Yeah, so moving on from that, I guess we'll go into initial thoughts. Um so for me, I thought the beginning of the movie, the pacing was kind of off. You know, it starts off with Gore and his daughter like dying in the desert, and they're like praying to the gods to like help them or whatever, but like nobody says anything. And then his daughter dies, and he ends up like being uh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Like enticed into this like weird oasis in the desert, where he finds the god that he's been praying to, who is just like, you know, whatever, like eating fruit and shit. And he's like, oh, look at this fucking peasant over
Screw you! I don't
here.
have to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, like, you know, I prayed to you, my daughter died, like, you've abandoned us. And the dude's like, yeah, whatever, fuck you, dude. Like, you know,
Right.
that's what you're supposed to do for me. And so then he ends up like taking this like necromancer sword thing.
Yeah, they call it like the Necroblade or
Yeah, the
something like
necro
that.
blade or some random weird thing, but he ends up like killing the god with it, and that's how he becomes the God Butcher. He then goes on this quest. He makes this vow to kill all gods, basically, and starts like killing off, I guess, like what they call B tier gods. um, but yeah, so all that kind of takes place in probably about 10 minutes or less.
Yeah,
and
I was
like
gonna say
that's
it
your
goes by real quick.
and that's
Just sort of
your
like, hey,
setup
this is your
for it.
bad guy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And so you're just like, oh, I don't feel like really any thing for this character, like
There wasn't a lot
they
of build up or like setup for it,
and
so
and I think that it's something that we've become accustomed to, is like having like this setup for these villains and stuff, because if you go back to Infinity War and like Endgame and stuff, like they set up Thanos for like what, two or three
so many
films.
movies.
Yeah, and then like they had this huge battle and it's epic and awesome, and it just didn't feel like that for this film. It felt very quick. It felt very like loosely put together,
Yeah,
and it's definitely not like the best Marvel film out there.
definitely not. Yeah, it just kind of felt a little rushed, like in some places to me, at least. And it's not the best writing in the world, like as far as
Especially
the Marvel movies
for
go.
for God, what was his name? Taika Waititi. Like he's put out
Oh,
a lot better shit than this. So like it
yeah,
kind of feels like he wasn't trying. Well, I don't want to say wasn't trying, but like I don't know. It just feels like it could have been a lot better,
yeah.
given like what he's put out.
I think
Another
what made it so weird, like in terms of the writing of the movie for me, is like it was set up to be more of a comedy, I feel like, but then you also have the villain that's like one of the darkest dudes we've seen in the entire like MCU so far. So it's kind of a weird like balance that I feel was probably difficult to get right. So I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Another thing is, you know, going back to the Guardians of the Galaxy being in this film, like there's a very, very short, it's probably like 8 minutes long, honestly, where it shows them like fighting on this planet, and like Thor's like trying to meditate or whatever, and they're like, oh, we need your help. And so he's like, okay. And there's this badass montage of him like destroying stuff.
Destroying everything.
Everything, including like the temple that these people worship in, which to me is really, really funny.
It was
Um,
hilarious. I love that scene.
and then, they're like, okay, there's this guy killing all these gods, but then like there are also all these other people who are in distress, and they're like, well, we can't possibly like do all of it, so they're like, let's split up. And so Thor and Gore go off to like stop the God Butcher, and then the Guardians just piece off to go do whatever like the fuck
Yep.
they're
They're like,
doing.
all right, bye, see ya.
And so you're like, oh, cool. Like they were in the film for 8 minutes and now they're gone. Okay, it's another Thor movie. Cool.
Okay.
Because like I wasn't a huge fan of the last one. Honestly, it was like it had its
The last
moments.
Thor movie,
Yeah, like
or
Ragnarok or whatever it was. Like it
yeah.
was
Oh,
cool.
I
It was
forgot about
funny.
Ragnarok.
Like it had what, the Hulk in it and stuff, and that was
Yeah,
cool to see. But as far as Marvel movies go, I think Thor, for me personally, is just like not my favorite. Like I don't think any of them have really been
yeah,
that great,
I
compared to some of the
agree.
other stuff that's out there.
They definitely don't hit as hard as like some of the other ones do for me either. So I feel that.
They feel almost, I don't want to say like throwaway Marvel movies, but yeah, like they kind of feel like throwaway Marvel films for me. Just to
Yeah,
like, oh, like we're gonna put out another film here while we wait to make this other one or
just sort of
whatnot, as
like
like filler.
filler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um and like there's not really much setup for anything else in this movie, other than I guess setting up like the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
right.
um but like
Or whatever
that's
the next Thor movie is going to be too. Like,
right, which I mean, like we'll get into that in a second. Which there isn't much there.
Yeah,
But like so another thing is like you get to see Jane come back as the mighty Thor, and like so it turns out she's got cancer and she's dying, um, but at the same time, like using Mjolnir to become mighty Thor is like killing her faster. Like it makes
yeah,
her stronger and able to like do these things, but like it's also killing her. Um, so that was kind of for me just a weird plot line, seeing as how she hasn't been in a Thor movie in a while, and to just kind of like bring her back in, and they're like, oh, this has to be like the love connection or whatever.
right.
And honestly, like Natalie Portman's performance, I think, is not the best that she's done,
Yeah, I think
even for Thor.
with Jane in general in this movie, like I feel like there were a lot of things just sort of brushed over. Like, she gets Mjolnir, but you don't see her get Mjolnir. She just kind of shows up, and then the next time you see her, she's She Thor or whatever,
Right.
Mighty Thor. Um, I kind of wish they had done like some kind of sequence showing her like get the powers and all that, but it's whatever. you know, there's only so much time they can pump into the
Right,
movie, I
yeah.
guess. But
But speaking of that, like, the it was like a, what, a 2 hour long runtime for this film, and
yeah,
honestly,
something like that.
I think they probably could have cut a lot out and made it like 90 minutes, and it probably still would have been okay.
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
another thing that I kind of have a problem with is like with Gore in general is like he's set up and he's shown as being like super OP, and like he just decimates everybody. It seems like, but then at the same time, like the ending, like he just kind of gives up, right? Like he
yeah,
gets to the like eternity or whatever, and like gives us one wish to get his daughter back, and then he's like, "I'm gonna die now."
yeah. I thought it was kind of cheesy there. Like, spoiler alert, right at the end, he's basically like, "I win because it's the power of love," sort of
Right?
shit.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
Thor's like he's like, I'm gonna spend my last moments with the person I love. Like I don't care about you. Like whatever, fuck you. Like we've been fighting for like, you know, God, what days at this point? I guess in the
yeah,
storyline.
it's like 2 days. The whole thing takes place
Yeah.
in like 2 days.
But yeah, I mean, like I guess it's like wholesome or whatever. And then to like spin off from that, like Jane dies, but then like when Gore brings his daughter back, it's not really his daughter. It's like this weird cosmic being now with like these crazy superpowers, and
Yeah,
like Thor's her new daddy. And it's just like, okay, what?
I'm interested to see what they do with that in future films, but
Right.
for me, that's kind of like a okay, why sort of deal. Like, I don't know, maybe there's more to it in the comics or something, but
Yeah. So
like,
okay, we'll premise this first. Like, I don't know about you, but like I have never really been a huge fan of like the Marvel comics, or just comics in general. Like, I don't really read them, and so I don't know much about how things progress in the story as far as that goes, or
right.
how true these movies are to them. So everything I do is just based off of what I've seen in the
What
films.
happens in the movies. Yeah. See, I have a little bit of background knowledge, but I don't read the comics either. I don't follow every single storyline and all that. So like the bits and pieces I do know, it's cool to see actually happen in the films, but that's kind of just it. Like I know it's not going to be so true to the comics because they're trying to do their own thing. So yeah, I don't know. It's like certain things have happened in certain movies, and then the whole fan base just goes nuts because it's like, oh well, this is gonna happen because of this and
Right.
that, and it's like at this point, I don't know what's gonna happen because they're kind of just rolling with it now. It seems
Yeah.
so.
Um,
Yeah,
and like I hate for this to be just us like shitting on this film, um,
it
because
had good parts.
yeah, as bad as it was, like it had its moments of humor, like when they go to recruit the other gods at omnipotent city or whatever the fuck they
Yeah.
called it.
All of it.
Uh, and like they're strolling through and they're looking at all the gods. And there's Nitty Naughty, which is the like Korg's god or whatever, and then there's like the
Yeah.
ramen, or was it the
It was like a dumpling or
yeah, it's like the
something.
dumpling god or something. It was some weird CGI dumpling thing, and like that was pretty funny. Um,
It's pretty great.
but then like you get to see like Russell Crowe's Zeus, and
Yeah.
like I know it's supposed to be like a weird like Greek accent, but it just sounds more like Italian than anything. Like just a
Yeah,
really
it
shitty
was
Italian
really weird.
accent.
It did not give me Zeus vibes, honestly.
But
I was like, oh, that's Zeus. All right.
it
Cool.
was funny. Like it gave humor to that moment,
Oh yeah.
and that scene. And like I'm a big fan of Russell Crowe. Like he's done some good shit back in the day, but he's obviously not the man that he used to be.
Right.
But like it was a funny scene, and this is probably one of my favorite scenes in that entire film. Was just them going there and doing that.
Yeah. It's
Except for
probably one of the
maybe
bigger like climactic points in the
yeah,
movie, I feel like.
and I like one of the other scenes that I thought was really fucking funny for no reason. Was like right at the beginning when they gift them the screaming goats.
The goats. Oh my
I'm
god.
just like, what is happening right now?
Like, yeah, you're
uh,
you're gonna take these goats off our hands. Thanks for
yeah.
destroying our temple.
It's like, thanks for destroying our temple. Here, take this thing, which is super fucking annoying. It's like, okay.
Cool.
So that's really all I have as far as initial thoughts. Do you have anything left to say before we move on to our final thoughts?
Um, you were saying like we don't want to just like keep trashing on this movie. I do want to say there are good parts too. Like it's definitely more comedic than it is serious, and I think the film itself knows that. So, it's a good time, even though it's not the best writing and everything. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, all right. So going from there into our final thoughts. Like for me, like we've already said, like this is by no means the best Marvel film that's out there, or the best work that Taika Waititi has put out. Um, like it can be funny, but again, like you know, the point is like to feel like there's something at stake here, with like the God Butcher and stuff, and like they make him out to be like powerful and all this stuff, but then like the way that the movie ends, it's just like really weird and the pacing is off. And then like once again with like the daughter having like crazy weird powers, and then like Thor being like, "I'm gonna take care of you now. Like I'm your new dad," and it's just like the fuck is this, you know?
Yeah.
um, but with all that being said, like it's still a decent film to watch. It has its moments. Like if you have kids, like I would definitely say go see this film, or if like you just want to watch something that's kind of funny and you don't have to like put a lot of thought into it, um, like that. Like this is a good film for that. It's got kind of a cool color scheme going on with it. I will say one of my favorite scenes was when they go to the Shadow Realm, because like so the most of the movie like it's all super colorful. There are like a lot of reds, blues, all that stuff. Very like retro '70s theme, which is what they were like going for.
Yeah.
And then like they go to the Shadow Realm, and it's all like black and white, and like that's what like 10-15 minutes worth of footage there,
Yeah.
which was super cool to see. Like that was a good artistic choice, I think, in my opinion.
I thought it was pretty cool. Like they literally show up and everything just fades out. And it's like, oh shit. Like you can still kind of see the reds and blues and stuff, but it's all grayscale and yeah,
Oh
pretty
man,
neat.
that reminds me. I kind of forgot about this, but like the main end battle, when Thor like channels all his power into like the kids, and so he's
Oh
got like a little
yeah,
army of
that's right.
kids that's just like fighting through these shadow creatures. Oh man, like this movie has its moments. Okay, like it's not terrible, but like it could have been better. Is what I
Yeah.
think I'm trying to get across. Like it definitely could have had more to it. Like it could have had more substance. It could have had more of an impact on the Marvel franchise in general, but it just didn't, which is kind of disappointing to see. And I get like they're trying to like set up for like the next generation of kids or whatever. Because the setup for us was like back, God, like I was still in
Yeah.
like in school. Like Iron Man came out. I don't even remember what year, but like that was like the first
Yeah.
MCU film, and like they built from there. And now it's like what 10, 11 years later or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, so like I get like you're trying to like bring in the next phase and like bring in the next generation of kids to like watch it because like let's be honest, like these movies are made mostly for kids or for like parents who have children and are gonna take their children to see it.
Right. Well,
It's
with it being owned by
yeah,
Disney
it's a Disney
too, like,
franchise. But I will say lately, I think that the series that they've been putting out on Disney Plus are far superior to what they've been putting out in like theaters.
yeah, I can
Um,
agree with that. I have not watched this new Miss Marvel yet, but all the other ones I've seen, I feel like with them being episodic, they have more time to actually like go in depth and stuff.
right.
So those ones have definitely been a lot more entertaining to me than more of the movies lately. So
Because
I agree.
like Moon Knight was pretty good.
Oh, I
Loki
love.
was
I thought it was
fantastic.
good. Loki was amazing.
I
Hawkeye was
cannot
pretty
wait
good.
to see Loki, like the next season of Loki. Yeah, Hawkeye was good, was decent. Um, but yeah, like I think that had this been a series instead of a movie, it could have been better.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, that's all I've got for it. As far as a final score out of five, I would give it a 2.5.
I think I'd probably give it a three. I did enjoy it in certain parts and stuff, but again, like it's obviously not the best movie ever made, not the best Marvel movie. Um, obviously we touched on all these things that like it did wrong, but I think what it did right is just it's fun, it's entertaining, like you said, take your kids to go see it kind of stuff, and I don't know. It was good for that stuff, but in terms of like a strong like story point for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not the best. So it's kind of just middle of the road for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, so that's all we've got for you guys on this one. The next review we're going to be doing, I'm super excited for. It's going to be over Jordan Peele's Nope. Um, I know the last two reviews have been kind of like us just shitting on movies, but hopefully that's different for this one. I've got a lot of high hopes. I've really enjoyed everything else that he's put out, and I'm ready to be like psychologically and emotionally scarred. But yeah. So until next time, I hope you guys are doing good. I'm pretty all right. How about yourself, Skyler?
Oh, I'm all right.
All right. Well, until next time, we will see you guys later. Peace.
Peace out.